Hello everybody, welcome into Trackilicious. Happy Tuesday. You made it to the Le Mans Ultimate GT3 Championship. Today we have round number 4 heading into, oh my goodness, excuse me. No transition necessary there. But yes, we do go to Imola today, also known as the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo and Dino Ferrari. But we will call it Imola. Nice, short, and sweet name. The historic track in Italy, first built in 1953, redesigned to its modern shape in 2008. Lots of chicanes. Pretty fast-moving track. Certainly need a good flow and a good rhythm around here. And so, with that being said, let's see who has the flow tonight. As we head down to Imola in the dark with the odd-numbered drivers heading their way to the end of the pit lane before starting the qualifying session. The first 10 minutes belong to them. And Ivan Cabral in the 157 Porsche leads the odd-numbered drivers out onto the track. It's going to be the headlight identification game today as we're racing around in the night. Porsche characterized by those circular lights at the front, single bar at the back. Ryan Eason in the Corvette. .705 heads out for his first outlap of the night. Into the darkness. No lights around Imola. Pretty pitch black without the illumination from the lights at the front of the cars, helping the drivers see their braking markers. Thank you for the follow, Hypo Racing. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good week so far. Let's make it better with a GT3 sprint race. As the GT3s begin to work their way around, we have our first set of drivers on the outlaps, starting their first push laps. Brian DeSantiago in the 777 still has the last sector to go before he begins his first push lap of the night. Slowing it down just a touch, building a gap to the car in front before getting on full power and blasting that V10 down on its home soil. The home of Lamborghini in Bologna, just about 30 minutes away from Imola. Brian DeSantiago pretty well planted over those curbs through the Tamburello chicane to open up the lap, and now he heads to Villeneuve, and it's the same situation. The Lamborghini just really rides those curbs very well. As we now head up the first hill, exiting the Tosa hairpin. A little flat kink to the right before a dabble of the brakes, down a few gears, throwing the car to the left hand, going back down the hill we just climbed into Acqua Minerale. A very tricky right-hand complex. Sling it in for the first part, hard on the brakes, Try to keep it in a straight line as best as you can to not unsettle the car. And on exit, the 777 once again riding the curbs very well. Cabral goes to the top. A 143.214 is the benchmark from the Porsche. De Santiago, meanwhile, through the Variante Alta, taking the curbs once again very nicely in that Lamborghini before heading down the final hill. Very hard braking zone, and it is shooting all of that weight to the front as well as the car plummets down the hill. No notice of a lockup there from the 777, but the brakes were glowing hot, but that doesn't matter anymore. He is hard on the power to the line. Where will the 777 go? He goes about 3.5 seconds slower than provisional pole, but it is a good first benchmark for the 777. Zack Terrell finds himself in third place at the moment in the number 69 Porsche, about 1.8 seconds off of provisional pole, about 9/10 behind Nana Afawakqua in the number 23 AMG, occupying second place. The podium finished last week as well for the number 23, looking to carry that momentum into today as the 69 is carrying his momentum down the hill into the Rivazzas to close the lap. Those brakes once again glowing hot on the 69 Porsche. The front brakes more so than the rears. Compared to the Lamborghini, they were pretty even all around. But now it is just a flat-out push to the line. It is a good improvement for Terrell in Sector 1, but he must have gone off at some point in Sector 2, because it doesn't look like it was valid. But in fact, it was, because he did improve his time. So just a glitch from our onboard systems there, gaining about a 10th on his personal best, and on to his third push lap of the session. Diego Matteo in the 787 Mustang, dab of the brakes, entering into Rivazza, now full power to the line. Currently sitting inside the top 5, needs about half a second to jump up to Ryan Eason, and just gains about a 10th of a second. And gets, in fact, gains 4/10 of a gains 4/10 on his personal best, gets within a 10th of Ryan Eason, but gets shuffled down to 6th as Jake Terrell moves up to 2nd place alongside Ivan Cabral, about 9/10 behind. The gap between himself and Nana Afawakqua just 0.04 of a second. Terrell, though, sets a good pace in Sector 1, goes fastest overall with that purple sector. Josh Hildenbrand finishing out his first timed lap, moves his number 7 BMW into the top 5. That'll shuffle Eason and Matteo down. Santiago improving his time within 2/10 of 7th place position Matteo. Then Brett Samuelson in the Lexus, one Bigley rounds out the top 10, and Dr. Porkchop just 9/1000 behind one Bigley. Ivan Cabral can't improve the benchmark at the top. It remains a 143.214. Terrell, fastest in Sector 1, fastest in Sector 2. What will it be in the closing sector? It's the same situation for the 83 Porsche. Front brakes absolutely glowing hot in the darkness at Imola here. And now just 2.5 minutes left for the odd-numbered drivers. Can Terrell make up the gap and go to the top? He makes up a good chunk of time to get within 2/10. Still a further 2/10 to gain for the 83 to match Ivan Cabral on provisional pole. Does Cabral have a response for that? He went fastest overall in Sector 1, a little bit down on his time in Sector 2. Can he keep it together here in the final sector? the same story for the 157. Front brakes glowing, rear brakes barely look like they're working at all. Cabral tries to cut the time as much as possible, stays as close to the wall as he can, and he gains a few tenths of a second of 143.132. Now the benchmarks puts about 2.5 tenths between himself and Jake Terrell. Afawakqua able to improve his personal best by about 0.3 of a second. The 143.794 from the number 23. What will it be for Jake Terrell out of the final corner? Down on his time in Sector 1. Overall best Sector 2. Coming up to the line now for the 83. Is this the time he needs? It is. It's a 143.096. Gets 36 thousandths of a second ahead of Ivan Cabral. Ryan Eason back into the top 5 and back into the pits he goes. Just 15 seconds left for the odd number drivers to set their lap times. One Bigley comes up to the line. He does get to the line before the checkered flag, so he can go around once more and also improves his personal best and gets in well inside the top 10 into 8th place. Hildebrand takes that top 5 place away from Eason though, and he is on another push lap, looking to go quicker still. Cabral across the line, can't improve his time. And I think in frustration, losing a wheel from the 157. Now just a handful of odd number drivers remaining. Afawakqua to the line, can't get an improvement, so he will remain in 3rd place for the time being. Shame you missed this one. Hope you enjoy the broadcast. As Jake Terrell comes up to the line, can he improve that personal best at the front? He cannot. It's a 143.096. Now the time to chase for the even numbered drivers. Hashim Ali in the 686 Lexus leads the even numbered drivers out of the pit lane. A bit more of an even split today. We're used to seeing one split have way more drivers than the other, but fairly even today at 11 and 9. So what do the evens have in store? Where will they shuffle in amongst the 11 that have already put in their qualifying laps? Terrell and Cabral, the 2 Porsches at the top, separated by less than 0.04 of a second. Then you got Afawakqua in 3rd. Zack Terrell 4th. Hildenbrand inside that top 5. Eason is the lead Corvette. Then you got the 2 Mustangs, both qualifying in the odd numbered session, 7th and 8th place. Brian DeSantiago in 9th. Samuelson 10th. Dr. Porkchop 11th. Now, where will these 9 even numbered drivers fit into the mix? No purple sector 1s on the board so far. But we'll see exactly where they slot in. Gonna be tricky to dethrone Terrell from the top spot. He has seen the podium all 3 times this season. Thank you, One Bigley, for the donation. You are amazing indeed. Good qualifying position in that Mustang for you, my friend. And hopefully, race goes in your favor. Time for a smoke and a pancake. That's a fun combination. Hashim Ali comes up to the line. And where will the first even number driver slot in? He goes into the top 5 and immediately gets shuffled down by the AMG of Thibaut van Campenhout. Mercedes Harrison into the top 3 in the Corvette, shuffles the 2 AMGs down to 4th and 5th. Kondrachuk in the Aston Martin moves up to 6th. He got a podium finish in race number 2. And to get back to those positions, the lone Ferrari on the grid belongs to George Elmer. Where can he put the number 22 on his first qualifying lap of the session? Goes into 13th place. Just about 25 milliseconds separate him from Brian DeSantiago in 14th. Needs a further 0.4 of a second to get up to the Mustangs of Matteo and one Bigley. Van Campenhout currently inside the top 5, needs about 1/10 of a second, a little over 1/10 to get ahead of the sister AMG driven by Nana Afawakqua in 4th place, but can't do anything about his best time. He went out earlier with the odd-numbered drivers. So what sort of lap does Thibaut have in store here as he comes up to the line in the 810? Moves up into the top 3 for the time being, gets ahead of Harrison in the Corvette, but does the 830 have a response here? It's a personal best, Sector 1 and 2. What will it be in Sector 3? A little bit down on the time of the Corvette. It is still an overall best lap for Mercedes Harrison. Improves the personal best of that car, but not enough to get past Van Campenhout in the 810, taking away a top 3 position. And just like that, Mercedes Harrison with a purple Sector 1 in the Corvette. Elmer gets past one of the Mustangs to shuffle one Bigley down to 13th. Elmer now up to 12th. Needs about half a second to get up to Diego Matteo in 11th place, just outside that top 10. Harrison down on the time in Sector 2. But we don't know by how much. It could be by 1,000th, it could be by 1/10th, but nonetheless, Mercedes Harrison with an overall best Sector 1 in the Corvette. Can they capitalize on that and bring the car across the line back ahead of the 810? As the 810 crosses the line, no improvements there from the AMG. What will it be from Mercedes Harrison, currently in 4th? Coming up to the line here, and does take 3rd place away, and it's a big improvement, gets within 1/10 of provisional pole. Chris Jackson in the lone McLaren just gets a personal best on the board, gets up into 15th, shuffles Samuelson and Porkchop down to 16th and 17th place. Jace Wright still without a valid lap in this session in the number 24 Lamborghini. As he is shuffled in here with Hashim Ali in 8th place in the 686 Lexus. Now the Aston of Kondrachuk just behind Van Campenhout in 4th. Kondrachuk in 6th. Close to each other on track. It's a personal best Sector 1 and 2 from the number 50 Less than a tenth between himself and the next driver up the road. It's Nana Afawakqua in the number 23. Rounding out the top 5 as it stands. Can Daniel Kondrachuk move up, as that is the 810 pulled off to the side of the road and returning back to the pits. 70 seconds to go in the qualifying. Kondrachuk to the line, can't get an improvement of his personal best as he comes up to the line. Ali does get an improvement as the 686 gets up to 7th ahead of Zack Terrell. Number of drivers back in the pits, and George Elmer facing the wrong way on track, just getting off the racing surface, and I think that's going to be the 22 back in the pits as well. So Harrison going through the Tamburello chicane for the final time. Needs less than a tenth to get onto pole position and shuffle the 2 Porsches from the top row. There's 4 drivers remaining out on track. Checkered flag is waving. Time has run out. And Jace Wright just behind Hashim Ali here. Still looking for the first valid lap. It's just going to be a one and done for the number 24. As Ali goes a touch deep into the first Rivazza. Still keeps it under control. Lexus and Lamborghini to the line. Kondrachuk just up the road. He gets an improvement and he goes up into the top 5. What can Ali do? No improvements of position, but Jace Wright does, and he will take 7th place away from the Lexus just ahead of him out on track. So the 24 with a do or die lap gets into 7th place, about a second behind provisional pole, and Harrison gets a little improvement across the line, but it's not enough to split the Porsches. So 3rd will be where the 830 Corvette will start this race.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
And there we have the official message of the race session started. Thank you for the follow, Angelo. Hope you are doing well today. Let's get through our starting grid from last to first. From the back, our favorite, Dr. Porkchop, taking a smoke break, and he's got a pancake in him, so watch out, everybody. He is ready to go racing. Next to him on the 9th row is Brett Samuelson in the number 29 Lexus. Ahead of them, Chris Jackson in the number 2 McLaren. Lines up next to Brian DeSantiago in the 777 Lamborghini to make up the 8th row of the grid. Moving up to 14th, we've got one Bigley in the 253 Mustang with George Elmer next to him on the 7th row in the number 22 Ferrari. Then Diego Matteo in the 787 Mustang next to Ryan Eason in the All-American Manufacturer 6th row. Josh Hildenbrand rounds out the top 10 in the lone BMW on the grid. He is in the number 7. Then you have Zack Terrell in the 69 starting from 9th place. Hashim Ali lines up next to Jace Wright, the 686 Lexus in 8th, and the 24 Lamborghini in 7th. Nana Afawakqua with a podium finish last week, starting from 6th in the number 23. He's got Daniel Kondrachuk next to him, also a podium finisher this season in that Aston Martin. Can they sneak up from the 3rd row to get a podium finish here tonight. Season debut for Thibaut van Campenhout, and he starts from the back of the second row alongside Mercedes Harrison in the 830 Corvette. And as it's been for a few races this season, it is an all Porsche front row with Ivan Cabral starting from second in the 157 and your championship leader, Jake Terrell, on pole position in the number 83. Can he convert it into his fourth race win of the season? It's been a dominant performance so far from the 83. Can anyone dethrone that Porsche from the top step of the podium? Green flag waves. It's a long run down into turn one, but it is a snaky run. The two Porsches colliding side by side. Harrison trying to get a good run, and down the inside the Corvette is going to try the move, but there's not a lot of room on offer there. They're going to run side by side. Cabral will stay ahead of Harrison. The top five, top six remain unchanged. Wright remains 7th, Ali 9th. In fact, your top 10 all remain unchanged. How about that? Nice and clean start. Good getaway from the grid. Let's hope we can keep this going into the second sector. As they run up the hill into Piratella for the first time, Terrell in the lead from the sister Porsche car of Ivan Cabral. Harrison tried to get a good jump at the start. The Corvette looked like it got a fantastic getaway, but just no room to sneak on through, so he will have to settle for third for the time being. Great shot of the grid snaking through, and that was one of the cars nearly losing it. That is the Porsche of Terrell having a massive oversteer moment exiting the Variante Alta. Two Porsches out in front. Ivan Cabral all over the back of Jake Terrell, as it was last race, just applying the pressure all race long, but just no way by. And after a certain point, the tires just giving out on the 157, just couldn't maintain the pressure. Had to slide back a bit, but can't do that here because he's got the 830 all over him. Not really, because the 830 goes wide and onto the gravel and able to keep it pointed in the correct direction without losing any major time. But will certainly be under pressure from the AMG of Van Campenhout, as the 810 looks to take advantage of any little mistake from the car ahead. The early goings of this one, top four, still all within one shot. As Chase Wright goes down the inside of Aqua Minerale, shuffles Nana Afawakqua onto the curbs. And the AMG just couldn't get stopped in time, but now with a good run, the 23 has the inside line for the Variante Alta. They're still going to run side by side, and the Lamborghini is going to maintain position out in front. But once again, the over-under opportunity opens up for the 23, and it's going to be a good run down the hill. He's going to have the inside for the two Rivazzas. Can the 23 keep it late on the brakes? A little bit of side-by-side contact, but they're still going to run side by side. But now the Lamborghini, with a great bit of speed around the outside, holds onto the position and takes sixth place. The 23 now with the Lexus of Hashim Ali for company. Zack Terrell looking to get in the mix as well from ninth. The Lamborghini defends the inside. Afawakqua is going to have to go the long way around. The outside, though, quickly turns to the inside and back to the outside again through that Tamburello chicane to start the lap. Oh, and Ivan Cabral under pressure from Mercedes Harrison. The 830 is going to go through and into second place. Nana Afawakqua not giving up and takes 6th place back from the Lamborghini. So the pink AMG maintains position after the Lamborghini seemed like it got through. Nana Afawakqua able to fight back, and oh my goodness, there is quite some company for Terrell, and behind for Hildenbrand in the form of Ryan Eason. And another oversteer from Zack Terrell, sees him go onto the grass. He's going to lose the place to Hildenbrand and to Eason and slide outside the top 10. And in fact, he's going to lose the place to George Elmer and slide all the way back. Or excuse me, no, he's going to stay ahead of George Elmer and stay in 12th place as Elmer remains in the position he started this one in 13th place. Harrison and Cabral swapping places in 2nd and 3rd. As they continue to battle, the gap to Terrell is increasing. Hildenbrand and Eason up a place into the top 10. Matteo in 11th, also up a place. In Terrell, there you can see losing the 3 places after his big oversteer moment, exiting Aqua Minerale. Porkchop up 3 places after starting from the back of the grid. Santiago down 1 and Jackson down a couple to the back of the grid in the number 2 McLaren, but still running in this one and not too far off the back of Brett Samuelson. Ace Wright looking to fight with the AMG once more. They've increased the gap to Hashim Ali in the Lexus, as they were certainly getting close. Ivan Cabral continuing to apply the pressure. What's happened to Wright? I think his car just disappeared there as we were trying to stay with him. Because Wright is no longer on the timing charts. He's at the back of the grid. So unfortunate there from the 24. Have some sort of issue there. Because he's back into the garage. Not exactly sure what happened there from the number 24. Perhaps just an internet issue. So that'll promote Matteo to a top 10 position. But he's got company in the form of Zack Terrell all over him. Porsche, after sliding back a few places after having a big slide of his own, looking to recover the positions and get back inside the top 10 where he started. First needs to get through the Mustang of Diego Matteo. Then there's a tight battle in front of those two between Ryan Eason in the 705 Corvette and Joshua Hildenbrand in the number 7 BMW. So here go those 4 cars, and then you've got George Elmer in 12th, about 1.5 seconds behind the 4 of them. Ryan Eason with a good run out of Variante Alte. Is he gonna send a move down the inside of Piratella, or excuse me, Rivazza? He is, but he's gonna get tapped. Can he keep it out of the wall? He can. Takes out the temporary foam barrier, but he is unfortunately left a little bit stranded and facing perpendicular to the track. He's gonna have to wait for the whole grid to work their way through before he can get back and rolling, and just now the 705 back out onto the track. I think just a little unlucky there for the way the 705 was sent, as the 787 sends himself into the gravel. Just a snap from the back of that car, as we are seeing cars beginning to struggle with the rear end. Diego Matteo, the latest victim, he keeps it out of the barriers, most importantly for him, still running in this one. Behind Dr. Porkchop now into 14th place. Hildenbrand has an invisible force field around him that just is protecting that 8th place finish at all costs. It was kind of odd to see the Corvette kind of slingshot over into the barriers the way it did. That's kind of like an ACC netcode moment here. But nonetheless, Ryan Eason still running in this one, keeps it out of the wall. Porsche down the straights compared to the Corvette, seeming to really lose out in the straight line speed department. Gap hovering right around that 7/10 mark between the Corvette in second and the Porsche in third place. Jake Terrell opening up a near 2-second gap between himself and the next two podium finishers. Van Campenhout drifting about 2.5 seconds behind the podium positions. He will soon have Daniel Kondrashuk for company in 5th place, about half a second down the road. Behind them, Nano Afawakqua in 6th. And breathe a sigh of relief. No longer has the pressure of the Lamborghini behind him. Next car behind him is Hashim Ali in 7th place in the 786. About 3 seconds ahead of Hildenbrand in 8th place. And Terrell now recovering back up to the position he started in 9th. Will look to get past Hildenbrand. Elmer sneaks himself into the top 10 as well. And not too far off this battle either, as the Ferrari looks for a good finish here tonight. Heading down the start-finish straight, if you want to call it that. Technically has 2 corners of the 19 corners around Imola. What's a corner? What's a curve? What's a kink? The world may never know. But what we do know is Terrell in a bit of a sandwich here with George Elmer behind him and Josh Hildenbrand in front. Can't find the pace to get through the BMW, and Elmer comfortable sticking on to the tail of the Porsche as he looks to try and take advantage of any more oversteer moments that may come his way from the drivers in front. Dr. Porkchop on the defensive now from Diego Matteo, as the 787 looks to recover after having a moment in the Tamburello chicane just a few laps ago. But the 71 really knows how to defend. We've seen Dr. Porkchop put on a masterclass in defense, and around Imola, it is not the easiest of places to overtake either. So if Dr. Porkchop can make that Aston Martin as wide as possible, he will be in for a 13th place finish here tonight. Exiting on to the start-finish straight. The Mustang with the slipstream, with the V8 naturally aspirated power in front of him, looking to get ahead of Porkchop. He's going to get to the inside of Tamburello. Can he keep it on track? He can. Great move to the inside by the Mustang. And now he's got a gap of 3 seconds to make up to the next driver, Brian DeSantiago, in 12th place in the 777 Lamborghini. Dramas at the front. Mercedes Harrison drops back to 6th place. Not sure what happened there to the 830, if there was contact with the driver behind, whether it was self-inflicted, but nonetheless, the 830 about 5 seconds behind the 5th place driver, Nana Afawakqua, after running in the podium positions. That will promote Thibaut van Campenhout into that final podium place position. But he's going to have the Aston of Daniel Kondrachuk for company, as he has for a majority of this race. The Aston sticking within a second. And a little bit of a slidey moment there from the 810. You can see that gap shrinking between the 50 and the 810. 3-second gap in front of the 810 to the Porsche of Ivan Cabral, who will take 2nd place back after losing it to Mercedes Harrison. But then the Corvette having a moment, slipping back to 6th. So this is now a fight for the podium between Van Campenhout and Kondrachuk. Through the middle part of the lap, it really seems like the AMG has an advantage over the Aston Martin, the gap growing by a few tenths after it was down to about 6.5 on the start-finish straight. Especially through Aqua Minerale, a big advantage for the AMG in front. Now back to the battle for 7th, 8th, or excuse me, 8th, 9th, and 10th place. This is Hildenbrand leading Terrell, leading Elmer. Battle in the bottom of the top 10. BMW remains ahead of the 69 Porsche, which remains ahead of the lone Ferrari. So the two lone manufacturers sandwiching the grid favorite Porsche tonight. Elmer, despite having that double slipstream, losing out. Hildenbrand goes deep into the first part of Tamburello, allows Zack Terrell to sneak through, so he will take 8th place away. Can Elmer take advantage also? The Ferrari sticks the nose down the inside, but Hildenbrand, late on the brakes, cuts across and will hold on to 9th. Now through Aqua Minerale Ferrari now on the back of the BMW. Terrell looks to make up a 5-second gap to Hashim Ali in 7th place. As we have dramas for one bigly, the 88. Or no, excuse me, the 253 using the 88 livery. Dropping back to 17th behind Jackson. Doesn't appear to be any major damage on that Mustang, but it is pretty tricky to see also in the night any sort of scratching. The 253 dropping from 11th to 17th. Recovering onto the back of Jackson, looking to engage in that battle, regaining the focus, and recovering back in the second half of the race. Under 20 minutes to go. Terrell is your race leader. That's Jake Terrell in the number 83. Then Ivan Cabral in second place. As those two started from the front row, they remain 1, 2. Van Campenhout promoted up to a podium position. Daniel Kondrachuk into fourth place. Nana Afawakqua rounds out your top 5. Mercedes Harrison in 6th. Hashim Ali in 7th. Zack Terrell in 8th after recently getting by Joshua Hildenbrand in 9th, and he's got George Elmer for company behind him. And that rounds out your top 10 at the halfway mark of this one. Eight and a half seconds behind the top 10. You've got Brian DeSantiago and Diego Matteo battling for 11th and 12th. Recently getting promoted with the 253 Mustang falling from 11th. And Brian DeSantiago looking to keep that 11th place. And Matteo looks to recover in the 787 after having a similar moment to the sister Mustang here at Tamburello in the first quarter of the race. We're recovering well, already back up to 12th, and there's Brian DeSantiago spinning in the 777. He'll get back on track, though. Keeps the engine running, and those headlights looked ominous for a second. I think Ryan Eason is going to get through. The 777 tries to defend the position, but Ryan Eason is having none of it, and the 705 will slide up to 12th place. Now we got a good 4-car battle here. Dr. Porkchop in hot pursuit of the 2 in front, and he's got Samuelson behind him as well in the number 29 Lexus. And now the 787 with some hot tires after that spin. Looking to just keep his cool and get back on the tail of the 705 Corvette. Maybe get back up into 12th place. In this middle part of the race, Aston Martin has dropped from the AMG he was chasing, and now he is in fact being chased by the AMG of Nana Afawakqua. As we head through the Villeneuve chicane, Tosa, a decent overtaking opportunity if you can get a good run out of Villeneuve. And here up the hill into the Piratella. Tricky to get side by side. As you crest the hill over to the right hand side, throw it down the hill to the left and into Aqua Minerale, one of the iconic corners of this track. Recently added a lot more gravel to really inflict some damage if drivers run wide. Before, there just used to be some asphalt runoff, and that wasn't necessarily punishing, as the drivers could just run off, take a track limit, and still maintain their track position. But now if you dip a wheel into that gravel, slows down the momentum of the car, and it is an easy way by for the driver behind. So you don't want to commit those mistakes and keep it within the white lines of the track. Well, these two are battling. Mercedes Harrison closing down the gap almost within a second of 5th place Nana Afawakqua. Oh, dramas for the 69 Mustang. What has happened to Zack Terrell? He is stranded on the side of the road, and back to the pits he goes. It was a good recovery from Zack Terrell, but unfortunately that Porsche just finding the barriers and unable to keep going in this one. Harrison certainly closing in on these two, battling for 4th and 5th place. Harrison will certainly try to use the pace of that Corvette we saw in the qualifying session. Try and work through the AMG and the Aston in front. Afawakqua has been looking at the back of that Aston Martin for a good middle chunk of this race now, and just absolutely no way by, but it's a pretty good run out of the final corner into the Tamburello chicane. Late dive to the inside from the 23. The Aston hangs it out wide and able to hold on to the position and keeps on going in 4th place. But the Corvette, with a clean run through the racing line, tries to send a dive into the inside of Villeneuve, but the AMG able to carry all the speed it needs to defend that place, as the 23 finds himself in a difficult position, trying to get by the car in front, but also checking the mirrors, making sure the Corvette behind doesn't send a late dive. Heading into Aqua Minerale, single file, but you can see the three taking slightly different racing lines. The Corvette with a lot more curb on the inside than the Aston Martin and the Mercedes. Oh, and there's a wiggle from the Aston. That's going to slow down the AMG and allow the Corvette to just about sneak his nose side by side with the AMG as they run down the hill into the Rivazzas. The 703 is, or excuse me, the 830 is gonna move to the inside and take the place away from the 23. It's now a top 5 position for Mercedes Harrison on the back of Daniel Kondrachuk. Now, can he get by the Aston Martin and show the AMG the way through? There's the podium these three are trying to chase down. It's Van Campenhout in that position in the 810. About 2.5 seconds up the road, entering Villeneuve just before this trio gets there. So Kondrachuk now with some different headlights in his mirrors to try and defend from. These two with a similar livery. Wonder if they're teammates of some sorts, but here on this track right now, they are certainly battling it out for position, with the 50 maintaining the place ahead of the 830. Through the corner, the Corvette just gets closer to the Aston Martin. But that short corner exit run between the two Rivazzas not enough for the Corvette to take advantage. Will we see a move here into Tamburello? Lots of speed in the Corvette compared to the Aston Martin. Is there going to be a late dive? He's lining it up to the inside of Tamburello. Goes the Corvette. Can the 50 defend the position as we saw him do on the previous lap to the AMG? He can't. The Corvette will go through. Will the AMG follow also? No, the Aston is going to stay side by side with the Corvette and hang on to the inside through Villeneuve, slowing them both down with contact, and not Afawakqua will take 2 positions into the braking zone of Tosa. And just like that, the AMG goes from 6th to 4th. Harrison slides down to 6th. Kondrachuk remains in 5th. But now, looking at the back of the 23... as the 830 dips a wheel into the grass on the exit of Piratella, slowing down all of his momentum down the hill into Aqua Minerale. Afawakqua with the through goes Hamilton moment there at Villeneuve. With the 2 black and orange cars battling for position, a bit of contact mid-corner. Shuffled the Corvette onto the gravel, slowing down the Aston and the AMG on the racing line, carrying the racing speed, and takes 2 positions in one go. Now we'll have to certainly defend it in the last 8.5 minutes of this race. Gap at the front between the 2 Porsches shrinking down to 1.5 seconds. It was right around 3 at the halfway mark of this one. So Cabral finding some late pace in the 157 to close down that gap. So hard to take our eyes off this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Afawakqua now leads the trio. Kondrachuk remains in the middle. Harrison sticking close to the Aston through Aqua Minerale. Is there going to be a move into the Variante Alta chicane? The 830s thinking about it down the inside. They're going to go side by side. The Aston's going to have the inside for the next bit, but the 830 sneaks on through and takes 5th. Now in hot pursuit of the 23 AMG. In 4th place, and then it is a further 3.5 seconds to get to Thibaut van Campenhout, rounding out the podium positions. But the 830 more occupied with the Aston behind than the AMG in front. Can Kondrachuk get a move lined up into Tamburello? Thinks about the move down the inside, but just backs off and thinks the better of it. Wants to get a good run out of the corner into Villeneuve, but I think he just dropped back a little bit too far to try and make that move happen. Another 3-car battle here. Hildenbrand ahead of Elmer. The 22 Ferrari was running ahead of the BMW for a little bit there, but Hildenbrand gets back through, and Matteo has caught back up to this duo and try and get his Mustang into a solid top 10 position. Elmer thinking of the move down the inside of Tosa. A little bit of contact front to back between the Ferrari and the BMW, but nothing critical there between them. Afawakqua Minerali, the Ferrari, already trying to get the run out of the corner, but just can't get it. The BMW, powerful in the straight line speed, able to hang on to 8th place from the Ferrari behind. And then the Mustang trying to stay close to this battle and take advantage of any little opportunity that may come his way after recovering already back into 10th. Just looking to get a few more championship points in the 787. Into the final 5 minutes we go. Just a few laps remain for these positions to be decided here. Can Elmer get back through ahead of the BMW? Can Matteo get through these two cars in the Mustang? Elmer looks like he has a great run on the exit of Tamburello. Through the mid part especially, he looked way quicker than the BMW, but just no room to get side by side there and try and challenge into Villeneuve. And it's the same story here. He's getting a lot closer mid-corner, but there's not a lot of room to go mid-corner. Elmer thinking of the move into Aqua Minerale. It's a brave move to get that done. And he thinks the better of it. But in doing so, he can't think too cautiously because he's got the Mustang weaving side to side, trying to go through as well. Just no room available there for the Mustang to go, because he knows the BMW is ahead of the Ferrari. It's not a clean battle between the AMG and the Ferrari. Has to also take caution and think about the BMW in front. As Elmer sends it down the inside, there's contact between the two of them, slowing both of them down, and another through goes Hamilton moment as Matteo takes 2 places into Tamburello. The Mustang up to 7th place, Hildenbrand in 8th, Elmer 9th, Eason moves up into the top 10 because we lost Mercedes Harrison. No! The Corvette back in the pits. Was looking to be a good recovery from the Corvette, getting back into the top 5, but back into the pits goes the 830, and the top 2 Porsches, less than a second, separate them, heading into the final 2 laps of this race. Will it be 1? Will it be 2? We'll see when we come down to the line. Terrell out in front, but he's getting squirrely through Villeneuve. Ivan Cabral already trying to take first side by side through Tosa around the outside. Very tricky to get that move done for the 157. Tried to get the over-under attempt, but there is just no room on offer from the 83 to take that one. As they battle down the hill into Aqua Minerali. Back up the hill we go into Variante Alta. Can the 157 find a way through in the braking zone? He's staying on the racing line, and he will stay behind the lead Porsche for the time being. Maybe just waiting it out, knowing there's going to be 1 lap left for an all-or-nothing pass to get by the 83. Will we see the checkered flag now, or will we see it after one more lap? There should be one more lap in this one. Yeah, 1 second short. Terrell is going to have to defend for another 3 miles. 19 corners. Make it less now as they head through Tamburello with the 83 ahead of the 157. This battle certainly quieted down in the middle part of the race, but it is on once again. Ivan Cabral trying desperately to dethrone the championship leader and not let him get 4 for 4 on the season. Can the 157 find a way through into the Piratella? The 157 carrying so much more speed. He's held onto his tires a little bit better than the 83 up until this point, who is just squirreling all over the road. It's a great run out of Aqua Minerale for the 157. Big braking zone at Variante Alta coming up. Is he going to send a late move to the inside? He thought about it. Terrell had it covered off, though. Terrell running a little bit deep. Is he gonna send a move? Final big braking zone at the Rivazza coming up. Down the hill we go. Terrell shuffles to the inside to defend the racing line. Ivan Cabral tried to go around the outside and forced onto the gravel. Jake Terrell defending for his life. He will make it 4 wins in a row on the season to solidify his championship lead as he takes the checkered flag here at Imola. Ivan Cabral in second place. And then Nana Afawakqua and Thibaut van Campenhout. It's a drag race to the line. Afawakqua has the inside, but Van Campenhout has the momentum. Is who's gonna take it? It's gonna be Van Campenhout. Nothing separating the two AMGs across the line, but Thibaut van Campenhout just about hangs on to it at the end there. Hashim Ali with a quiet race, but that quietness has solidified him a top 5 finish in this race. Diego Matteo, great recovery from him to finish in 6th. Josh Hildenbrand ahead of George Elmer. The number 7 finishes in 7th, the number matching the position. The 22 Ferrari across the line in 8th. Ryan Eason in 9th. Daniel Kondrashuk having to take a pit stop, but he will still finish inside the top 10 in 10th place. The sister Aston next across the line, the 71, with a major defensive drive. Gonna finish up in 11th place as Jackson heads back to the pits. That's gonna give the position potentially to one Bigley, but nonetheless Porkchop across the line to take the checkered flag. Interestingly here, Jackson back into the pits, and it's gonna be one Bigley who's gonna get past the McLaren to the line. He is gonna get past, and into 12th, no, 11th goes one Bigley. How did he get ahead of Porkchop? Oh, Porkchop might have had a penalty for track limits that sees him drop back to 12th, because one Bigley promoted up to 11th place there in the 253. Ah, the number 2 has a penalty. I see. Oh, it was for energy. Gotcha, gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Well, either way, top 3, please come join us in the green room for a quick chat. How your guys' race went on. We will take it back to our lovely studio. As we have Jake Terrell, race winner, and Ivan Cabral joining us. Welcome in, gentlemen. Not your first time visiting us tonight. Terrell with another race win tonight, but you certainly had to fight for that one at the end there.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a miscalculation on the fuel. So I was having to fuel save and defend at the same time, which, as you probably saw on the last lap, ended in a little bit of unfortunate racing incident. Just side by side, bumping doors. But it was a very difficult race. Didn't make it easy for myself. Just, it was a hard race. From practice, qualifying to the race, everyone's pace was insane, and this is not a strong track for me at all. So just happy to finish where I did. So that was a tough race.
Yeah, it looked like it was tough. Yeah, like you said, having to save the fuel. And at one point, Ivan, did you think you had a chance of getting that race win when you saw that gap shrinking down as it did?
Yeah, I think ever since what happened in the chicane in lap 2 or 3, I don't know, where I lost my momentum going into the straight to the second to last corner, that I lost the position with Mercedes. There, I feel like I lost some momentum because I got, I don't know how to call it. I don't feel like I was held by Mercedes, but I felt like I had a little bit more of pace to catch Terrell there in the beginning, in the early stage of the tire life, let's just say. But then, well, yeah, I was pushing the entire race. I've got really close with the track limits. I had like 0.25 left coming into the two last laps, so I was pushing. And yeah, when it was the last corner, I said, okay, we'll try to give it all. And yeah, I think I had a chance there, but yeah, I don't know. I will let them see.
Yeah, and up to the line, speaking of close finishes, the two AMGs, very, very close to the line. Tebow, how much were you sweating coming up to the line there with the AMG right in your mirrors alongside you down the final stretch?
Well, we agreed to do a photo finish because we both like the AMGs, right? So
there you go. Yeah, it looked like you were pretty comfortable in that podium position for a good last 10 minutes of that race, and then right at the end, two AMGs, photo finish. Jake, are we going to see more of the same from you next week? Carrying on another race win into this one?
I feel like my pace is pretty okay at Barcelona, but Ivan and Mercedes and all the other guys are proving to be tough competition. But I don't know. Just gonna try to enjoy the win tonight, and then maybe prepare a little bit better for the race next week. Get a little more comfortable, because I know Barcelona can be a little bit of a more difficult track, especially in the Porsche. The tires like to skate around a little bit, but it should be another good race. If it was anything like tonight, the competition's going to be steep, so just going to have to really dig deep and get my head down and stays consistent, not make as many mistakes as I did tonight, but just try to come back more prepared next week.
Good to hear that. We love to see the close competition. Congrats, you guys, on the podium finishes tonight. Very close between the two Porsches on the top and the two AMGs in third and fourth. Thank you, gents, for joining us for a quick chat. Good luck in the rest of the rounds. We've got round 5 next week. Tomorrow, though, it is the Wednesday multi-class in ACC going to Oulton Park. That was announced as the mystery track for them tomorrow. Fridays, it is the Hypercar LMU Championship, doing 75-minute races in the Hypercars on Fridays. Sundays, we have the MX5 Cup in iRacing, and Monday, it's the GT4 Rookies in ACC with 2 20-minute doubleheader races. That is it for us tonight, with round number 4 at Imola coming to a close. And it was a super epic, fun battle from start to finish, from the top of the grid all the way to the bottom. Non-stop action, as we like to see here at Trackilicious. Hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. I have been Kujaterikov for Trackilicious. Hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be watching. Stick around for the raid, some more Le Mans Ultimate from Matum. Stick around, show the love from one sim racing community to the next. Until tomorrow, have a good one, stay safe, we'll see you then.